Have you ever felt anxious about the future, the insecurity about what's to come, the fear of the unknown, the feeling that anxiety will never go away? If you've experienced this, you're not alone. The good news is that there is a way to manage this anxiety and find inner peace, even amid uncertainty. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, has taught its followers how to accept what we cannot control and cultivate inner tranquility. In this video, we'll explore how you can use Stoic principles to confront anxiety and uncertainty, which are part of our lives. And if you want to learn more about how to apply Stoicism in your daily life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any important content. Anxiety is a natural response of our body to situations that we perceive as stressful or uncertain. It can manifest in various forms: a constant fear of the future, excessive worry about what might go wrong, or a sense of powerlessness in the face of what's to come. But what many people don't know is that anxiety, while a normal emotion, often becomes a vicious cycle that only grows as we try to escape from it. The problem is that anxiety doesn't just stem from the fear of the future, but from our inability to deal with uncertainty. It arises when we try to control the uncontrollable and become paralyzed by our lack of control over what's going to happen. Stoicism teaches us that this pursuit of control is the root of suffering. By accepting that there are things beyond our reach, we can begin to find the inner peace we seek. Stoicism teaches us that the key to inner peace lies in distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot. This fundamental principle is crucial for understanding how to deal with anxiety. When we focus our energy on controlling what is beyond our reach, such as the future or the actions of others, the inevitable result is frustration and increased anxiety. Stoicism offers a shift in perspective. Instead of worrying about the uncontrollable, we should direct our attention to what's under our responsibility: our thoughts, attitudes, and reactions. Epictetus, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, said, "It is not what happens to us that disturbs us, but our opinions about what happens." This quote summarizes the essence of Stoicism and is a powerful tool for dealing with anxiety. Instead of being caught up in the fear of what may happen, we can learn to change our way of thinking, accepting that difficulties and uncertainties are part of life, but don't need to define our inner peace. Another essential Stoic principle is the idea of living in accordance with nature, which means accepting challenges and setbacks as an inevitable part of life. Instead of fighting against reality, we can learn to be resilient, embracing adversity with serenity and courage. When we apply these Stoic principles, we begin to realize that anxiety is not an enemy to be defeated, but an opportunity to exercise our mind and strengthen our emotional resilience. Accepting the uncontrollable is one of the greatest lessons that Stoicism has to offer. We live in a world full of unpredictability, and often our anxiety arises precisely from our attempt to control the uncontrollable, the future, the actions of others, or even situations that are beyond our reach. The art of accepting what we cannot change is one of the pillars of Stoic philosophy, and this acceptance brings an emotional freedom that few people know. The Stoics teach us to practice what they call distinguishing between what depends on us and what does not. This practice helps us reduce frustration and stress that arise when we try to manipulate what is beyond our influence. For example, if you're anxious about something that hasn't happened yet, the best thing to do is focus on the present, on the actions you can take now to prepare, without excessively worrying about the outcome. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Accept things as they are, and not as you wish they were." This simple yet profound advice reminds us that inner peace is only possible when we learn to deal with situations as they are, not as we wish them to be. By accepting life's uncertainties, we are not surrendering to passivity, but freeing ourselves from the weight of anxiety that arises from the constant attempt to control the uncontrollable. This doesn't mean we should stop acting or planning for the future, but instead act wisely, accepting that not everything will be under our control. One of the greatest difficulties we face when dealing with anxiety is constantly projecting ourselves into the future, anticipating problems that haven't even happened yet. Stoicism teaches us that true inner peace is only available in the present, and we should focus on living in the moment without getting lost in worries about what's to come. This doesn't mean neglecting responsibilities or goals, but cultivating a mindset that allows us to be present in what truly matters. The Stoics believed that the human mind has the incredible ability to direct its attention, and by focusing on the present, we can transform even the most challenging situations into opportunities for growth. As Seneca said, "The life we live is what we make of it." The practice of living in the present helps us release emotional tension because we are no longer overwhelmed by the expectation of what could go wrong in the future. Practicing focus on the present allows us to find serenity in the midst of turbulence because we understand that we can only act now. At every moment, we have the chance to decide how we react to situations, choosing calmness over despair. This daily choice to live with more attention to the present, without carrying the burden of what we cannot control, is essential for mental health. Additionally, by focusing on the present, we learn to notice the small victories, joys, and growth. Opportunities that are often hidden when we're so focused on worries about tomorrow. In Stoicism, we don't see anxiety as something that should simply be eliminated, but as an opportunity for personal development. Instead of fighting it, we can learn to transform it into a tool for growth. This might seem counterintuitive, but the Stoics teach us that difficulties, including anxiety, are inevitable. The real question is, how do we respond to them? One of the most powerful principles of Stoicism is the idea that adversities, rather than weakening us, can strengthen us. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that obstacles teach us more than ease. When we feel anxiety, it usually means we're facing something important, something that challenges us to grow, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal projects. What Stoicism proposes is to use this discomfort to reflect, make more conscious decisions, and act with clarity without letting the fear of the future paralyze us. By seeing anxiety this way, as a signal that we are being challenged to go beyond, we can develop a more resilient posture. Anxiety, then, is not something to avoid, but something to face with courage. Instead of reacting with panic, we can use it as a way to prepare better for what's coming, taking the necessary actions with serenity and confidence. Essentially, Stoicism teaches us to use our emotions constructively, not destructively, to shape a stronger and more balanced life. The key to living Stoic principles is not just in theory, but in daily practice. It's not about simply understanding these concepts, but incorporating them into our daily lives, especially in moments of greatest tension and uncertainty. For the Stoics, philosophy was not an esoteric practice reserved for sages, but something accessible to all, a tool for living with more balance and clarity. One of the most effective practices we can adopt is daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius, for example, wrote his meditations every morning, reflecting on the day's challenges and how he could face them with serenity. This helps us establish a positive and focused mindset even before the day begins. The simple act of pausing for a few minutes and reflecting on what really matters, what we can control and what we cannot, has the power to change our perspective and reduce anxiety. Another important practice is self-examination at the end of the day, asking yourself what you did well, what you could have done differently, and how you reacted to situations helps strengthen self-control and mental clarity. As this practice becomes part of your routine, you begin to notice a real change in how you deal with challenges, developing greater patience and resilience. The practice of Stoicism is not something that happens overnight, but over time it shapes our mind and makes us more balanced and serene in the face of life. The Stoic journey is ongoing, a constant practice that over time shapes how we think and react to life's challenges. It's not about achieving immediate peace, but about building day by day the resilience needed to face life's ups and downs. As we incorporate Stoic teachings into our daily lives, we begin to realize that mental peace doesn't come from the absence of difficulties, but from the way we choose to react to them. Cultivating resilience means learning to face adversity with courage, keeping calm in moments of uncertainty. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from our ability to remain serene when everything around us seems out of control. Seneca reminds us that the difficulty is not in bearing things, but in knowing we can face them. The idea is to build an unshakable mindset where anxiety no longer affects us in the same way, as we learn to see it as a natural part of the journey, not an insurmountable obstacle. By following the path of Stoicism, we not only confront anxiety, but also become stronger, more self-aware, and more at peace with ourselves. This constant practice of reflection, acceptance, and action helps us develop the emotional resilience necessary to navigate life's uncertainties with more confidence and balance. And as we move forward on this journey, inner peace becomes a natural reward, a state of mind that grows deeper and more lasting. Throughout this video, we've explored how Stoic teachings can be applied to face the anxiety and uncertainty we all encounter at some point in life. What we've learned is that true mental peace doesn't come from eliminating anxiety or seeking absolute control, but from our ability to accept what we cannot change and focus on what is within our reach, our reactions, attitudes, and choices. Stoicism offers us powerful tools to cultivate a resilient and balanced mindset, capable of turning anxiety into strength, uncertainty into opportunity, and adversity into valuable lessons. By practicing acceptance of the uncontrollable, focusing on the present, and constant reflection, we can create an inner space of tranquility, regardless of external circumstances. If you're ready to take the first steps on this journey, remember that Stoicism is not a final destination, but an ongoing practice. It's a path that, though challenging, can bring a profound sense of emotional and mental freedom. By adopting Stoic principles, you will not only confront anxiety in a healthier way, but also build a more balanced and authentic life, where inner peace becomes your ally. Finally, if you feel inspired by these ideas, subscribe to the channel for more videos on how Stoicism can transform your life. The journey to tranquility begins with a small step, and you are more than ready to take that first step.